Man is made from the 5 elements: metal, vegetation or wood, water, heat or fire and earth. The following slides will demonstrate that the Creator made man not only from the dust of the earth or congealed blood, but from the 5 elements. The following periodic table shows the elements present in our body: oxygen, 65%, carbon, 18%, hydrogen, 10%, nitrogen, 3%. Macrominerals consists of calcium, 1.5%, phosphorus, 1.0%, potassium, 0.35%, sulfur, 0.25%, sodium, 0.15%, magnesium, 0.05%. Trace minerals consists of copper, zinc, selenium, molybdenum, fluorine, chlorine, iodine, manganese, cobalt, iron, 0.70%, lithium, strontium, aluminum, silicon, lead, vanadium, arsenic and bromine. Calcium is needed for making bones and teeth. Calcium helps nerves and muscles function. Calcium is found in dairy products, such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, canned salmon, leafy green vegetables, such as Chinese cabbage, bok choy, kale, collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens and broccoli. Calcium-fortified foods ranges from orange juice to cereals and crackers. Chloride is needed for keeping the right amounts of water in the different parts of your body. Chloride is found in salt, rye, tomatoes, lettuce, celery, olives, beef and pork, cheese. Magnesium is needed for making bones and teeth. It helps in nerves and muscles function. Magnesium is found in leafy green vegetables, nuts, bran cereal, seafood, dairy products, such as milk, cheese, and yogurt. Phosphorus is needed for making bones and teeth. It's also needed for storing energy from food. Phosphorus is found in dairy products, such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, red meat like beef, pork, and lamb, poultry, fish, eggs, nuts, peas. Potassium helps nerves and muscles function. It's needed for keeping the right amounts of water in the different parts of your body. Potassium is found in bananas, broccoli, tomatoes, potatoes with skins, leafy green vegetables, like spinach, turnip greens, collard greens, and kale, citrus fruits like oranges, dried fruits, legumes. Sodium helps nerves and muscles function. It's needed for keeping the right amounts of water in the different parts of your body. Sodium is found in salt, milk and cheese, beets, celery, beef and pork, green olives. Trace minerals like copper helps protect cells from damage and is needed for making bone and red blood cells. Copper is found in shellfish, especially oysters, chocolate, mushrooms, nuts, beans, whole grain cereals. Fluoride is needed for making bones and teeth. Fluoride is found in saltwater fish, tea, fluoridated water, water that has had fluoride added to it. Iodine is needed for your thyroid gland to function properly. Iodine is found in seafood, iodized salt, salt that has had iodine added to it, drinking water, in regions with iodine-rich soil, which are usually near an ocean. Iron helps red blood cells deliver oxygen to body tissues. If you don't get enough iron, you could get iron deficiency anemia. It helps muscles function. Iron is found in red meat, such as beef, tuna and salmon, eggs, beans, baked potato with skins, dried fruit, like apricots, prunes, and raisins, leafy green vegetables, such as spinach and turnip greens, whole grains, like whole wheat or oats. Selenium helps protect cells from damage. It is needed for your thyroid gland to function properly. Selenium is found in Brazil nuts, fish and shellfish, red meat, in rich breads, eggs, chicken, wheat germ. Zinc is needed for healthy skin and for healing wounds, such as cuts. It helps your body fight off illnesses and infections. Zinc is found in red meat like beef, pork, and lamb, and legumes. Based on what we now know about the elements found in our body, let us look at the periodic table of elements and identify what these elements are. Based on what we now know about the elements found in our body, let us look at the periodic table of elements and identify what these elements are. The elements sodium, Na, potassium, K, magnesium, Mg, calcium, Ca, strontium, Sr, vanadium, V, chromium, Cr, molybdenum, Mo, ferromoriron, Fe, cobalt, Co, nickel, Ni, copper, Cu, zinc, Zn, aluminium, Al, and plumber or lead Pb. All these elements found in our body falls under the category of metals, confirming that one of the constitutions of man is metal. What about wood or vegetation? Why is man made from wood or vegetation? Let us take a look at the process of photosynthesis to get a better idea.
Photosynthesis is the process used by plants to make their own food. Or in more complex terms, it is the conversion of light energy into chemical energy by plants. This chemical energy is used by the plants for growth and nourishment. Photo means light and synthesis means putting together in Greek. When humans cook food, some essential things are required, including fire, water, vegetables, etc. Similarly, to make their food, plants also need some essential factors, including light, water, nutrients, soil, etc. Plants get light from the sun, water from the ground, and carbon dioxide from the air. All of these factors, including air, water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight, together help plants churn out their own food. Plants have tubes called xylem, located in the stems through which the water from the ground is sucked into the leaves. Leaves on the plant have pores, very similar to the pores on the skin of our bodies. These pores are called stomata. These stomata are responsible for the exchange of gases. The carbon dioxide present in the air, which is responsible for photosynthesis, enters the plant through these stomata. Oxygen also comes out through these stomata. Leaves have important cells called mesophyll cells. These cells contain a green color component called chloroplast. This chloroplast is responsible for the green color of plants and leaves. Once the carbon dioxide and the water reach the chloroplasts in the presence of sunlight, the process of photosynthesis starts to take place. The following reaction takes place in the leaves of the plant during photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of light energy results in oxygen plus glucose or carbohydrates. The products formed are glucose and oxygen. Carbohydrates, which are a form of glucose, are synthesized from carbon dioxide and water. Glucose is used by the plants for their growth. Some of the glucose is used immediately, and the extra glucose, which is not used, is stored in the form of starch in the leaves.
Since we eat the leaves of plants, we consume the glucose and therefore share the same element as wood or vegetation. The next element is water. Man is made up to 70% from water. The balance consists of protein 20% with fat ideally below 20%. What about fire? How can man be made from fire? To get a better understanding, let us take a look at the following video clip.
As this mountain biker heads up the trail, the breakfast he ate this morning is being burned to power his bike ride. His breathing rate increases as his leg muscles demand more oxygen to burn more fuel. Let's zoom down to where this fuel is burned, our cells. Here, the blood vessel on the left delivers fuel and oxygen to a single muscle cell. In cellular respiration, energy in fuel is converted to ATP, shown here as starbursts. Most ATP is made in the cell's mitochondria. ATP powers the work of the cell, such as contraction. Let's take a closer look at how ATP is produced from a molecule of glucose, our fuel. Only the carbon skeleton is shown to keep things simple. The first step is called glycolysis, and it takes place outside the mitochondria. To begin the process, some energy has to be invested. Next, the molecule is split in half. Now, the molecule NAD+, an electron carrier, picks up electrons and hydrogen atoms from the carbon molecule, becoming NADH. Keep track of the electron carriers. They play an important role by transporting electrons to reactions in the mitochondria. In the final steps of glycolysis, some ATP is produced, but not much. For every glucose molecule, only 2 net ATPs are produced outside the mitochondrion. However, glycolysis has produced pyruvic acid, which still has a lot of energy available. Let's follow this pyruvic acid molecule into a mitochondrion to see where most of the energy is extracted. As the molecule enters the mitochondrion, one carbon is removed, forming carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Electrons are stripped, forming NADH. Coenzyme A attaches to the 2-carbon fragment, forming acetyl-CoA. Coenzyme A is removed, and the remaining 2-carbon skeleton is attached to an existing 4-carbon molecule that serves as the starting point for the citric acid cycle. The new 6-carbon chain is partially broken down, releasing carbon dioxide. Several electrons are captured by electron carriers, and more carbon dioxide is released. The carbon dioxide that you exhale comes from the reactions of cellular respiration. 2 ATPs are produced by the citric acid cycle for each molecule of glucose. At this point, only a small number of ATPs have been produced. However, more energy is available in the electrons that are being transported by electron carriers. While the citric acid cycle starts another round, let's follow an electron carrier to the next step in the process. Electron carriers such as NADH deliver their electrons to an electron transport chain embedded in the inner membrane of the mitochondrion. The chain consists of a series of electron carriers, most of which are proteins that exist in large complexes. Electrons are transferred from one electron carrier to the next in the electron transport chain. Let's take a closer look at the path electrons take through the chain. As electrons move along each step of the chain, they give up a bit of energy. The oxygen you breathe pulls electrons from the transport chain, and water is formed as a byproduct. The energy released by electrons is used to pump hydrogen ions, the blue balls, across the inner membrane of the mitochondrion, creating an area of high hydrogen ion concentration. Hydrogen ions flow back across the membrane through a turbine. Much like water through a dam, the flow of hydrogen ions spins the turbine, which activates the production of ATP. These spinning turbines in your cells produce most of the ATP that is generated from the food you eat. The process you've just observed, cellular respiration, generates 10 million ATPs per second in just one cell. That ATP can power a biker up the trail, or it can power your brain cells as you learn challenging biology topics.
Cellular respiration produces energy and heat as a byproduct. The element fire therefore exists in the form of heat from the process of consuming food. The final element is earth. Earth or soil is generally composed of minerals, 46%, air, 25%, water, 25%, and a mix of organic matter, 4%. A deceased person will be decomposed back to earth after a certain amount of time. Thank you. We hope you find this presentation helpful to further your knowledge and understanding in Bai Tiangong.